So the big question is, in this day and age, 2025, do I, as a wife, do I still need to submit to my husband? So I am talking from the point of a woman, a wife, strong, independent, career, making your money, da-da-da-da-da. Do I need to submit to my husband? We're not living in days of old. Why do I need to submit to my husband?
Because submission shows trust. Submission is taught by society that it makes one person superior, the others inferior. But submission from a biblical perspective is a matter of trust, honor, and love.
Yes. And I can talk about it from a woman that's very successful in her career, that submission, looking on submission, has nothing to do with you being someone being superior and you being inferior. Has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with you being small or stomped on in your home or being treated like a servant. Do as I say, don't ask questions. No, it has nothing to do with that. Submission, for years, that word has been used to reflect this. And the reflection was, submit to your husband. It doesn't matter what he wants, whenever he wants. You ensure that you do it. Don't ask questions. You should just be a nice, good wife and be silent and don't say anything. That was the teachings of old. We want to enlighten someone today and talk about how honoring your husband is also a part of submission.
Right.
Respecting your husband is also a part of submission. And there's such a beauty in submission.
Right. Because what it does, it reflects a wife's confidence in the man's ability to lead.
Yes.
And trusting that he will not lead you down the wrong path.
Yes.
But brothers, I implore you, give her something to trust.
I like that.
She will not trust you until you've given her something to trust. And I think that's the challenge. Most men, they demand submission.
Yes, it's that word, demand.
Right.
You don't have to demand anything if you are loving your wife and you're pouring into her. As he said, if you're giving her what she wants, the attention, the conversation, the love, the respect, the honor, submission comes easy. It comes so easy. We want to submit because you are partnering with me.
Yeah.
You are making me feel so good. You're making me feel like a woman. You make me feel soft. Those are some things.
Talking about the soft life. Oh, that's a whole different topic. Oh my goodness.
But again, he's right. He's right. If husbands, if you are treating your wives in that way, it's easy for her to respect, honor, love, encourage, be there for you. So it's an act of trust. So ladies, I'm talking to you now. The first thing with submission that you need to understand is not a curse. It's not putting a title on you that you are less, but it's an act of trust. And if you trust your husband, you will submit to him.
Yeah. But you have to allow him to lead.
Yes.
Right? Like I said before, he has to give you something to trust. Right? So if this man has given you that ability to be confident in him because of proper leadership, showing up, doing his manly duties.
Yes.
God calls the man to love the wife.
Yes.
And for the woman to submit to the man
because of love.
To honor the man rather.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I used the wrong word. To honor.
To honor him.
Right?
Yes.
So it's not one-sided.
Yes.
Both parties have a role to play.
Yes.
So if I am loving you unconditionally, like Christ loved the church, right? Then it's easier for you to trust me.
Yes.
To honor me.
Yes.
And eventually to submit.
Yes.
Again, submission does not mean that you are inferior.
No, it doesn't.
It simply means that, I'm going to allow him to do his manly duties.
Yes.
The things that he was called to do. I'm going to trust him to do it.
Yes.
And what I find is when that woman gives you that confidence that, I trust you, right? It builds the man's confidence to do more.
It does. It almost strokes his ego, ladies.
It does.
So if you're saying you're allowing him to lead, and that's hard. when you are a career-driven woman and you are already leading companies, organizations, you're leading staff, departments, when it comes to the home, it's hard for you to say, okay, I'm going to step back, allow you to lead, but we have to do that.
But why is it hard though?
It's hard because you already, every day you go out and you put on this cap and this hat that you already leading. You already have that mind indirectly. You already have that mind to lead and to take control and take charge. You're managing meetings and different things. But when you come home, there has to be a reminder.
Yeah, that's not the same environment though.
It's not. No, it's not.
So if it was first established at home, that, okay, this is where the man leads.
Yes. Then there should not be a challenge when you come home. It should, as a matter of fact, it should be a release for you as a woman. That when you don't have to have
you can relax now and allow him.
Exactly. You don't have to keep that on. Okay, I'm leading in my job, leading in this, and then come home, I still have to lead.
Yeah, you're gonna burn out.
You should be able to relax and be like, well, my hubby's at home. He's my protector. He is my leader. He is the priest in the home. I should be able to take it off and be like, okay, I'm good. I don't have to lead here. So that's, and we're you know us, we're already dealing with scripture. We're diving into scripture. And if you go into Ephesians 5:22-24, it talks about the submission. It talks about how husbands loving their wives and that the husband leads with love, but the wife leads or submits with wisdom. That's powerful.
Right.
The wife submitting with wisdom, knowing that submission is strength, is fuel, is food for her husband. She will now submit in wisdom.
Right.
Yeah.
A woman's submission is a reflection of her trust in God.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's a reflection of her trust in the order that God has put in place.
Yes.
So if a woman is unable to submit, it's not a question of whether or not she trusts this man. It's a question of whether or not she trusts God.
Yes.
Because we didn't choose this order.
Yeah,
God chose it.
Yeah, it was his order.
It was handed down to man.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And by man, I mean humans. It was handed down to us. And if we are to reflect that order, then most of the problems that we face today, we would not face them. Okay, let's take it to the problems that we have in society. Most of it is coming from broken homes.
Yeah.
Boys that were raised without a father.
Yes.
Raised by a single mom. Mama did her best.
Yes. Yes.
But she cannot replace a father.
That's correct.
She cannot step into the role of a dad. It doesn't matter how strong a woman she is.
Yes. Yes.
She will do her best.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's something that's missing. And again, most of the people that I encounter on a day-to-day, they are broken because something was missing from their childhood. What's that something?
The dad.
Daddy.
Yeah.
He was missing.
Yeah.
And so they become broken from childhood. They grow up and they recycle that brokenness.
Yes.
And they pass it down to the next generation.
Yes.
They pass it on to their spouses.
Yes.
They pass it on in the workplace.
Yes.
And it just becomes a nasty cycle.
But when it comes on to submission, that's like a part of the puzzle. So husbands are to love, wives to submit, and it becomes the completed piece of the puzzle for a home to be successful. So in submission, there's also mutual love. So it's not just the wife submitting and I'm not loving my husband. Yes, you also love, because if you love someone, it's easy to respect. It's easy to be obedient. It's easy to come down and say, okay, hold on. I made a mistake. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go ahead and be in agreement. It's easy when love is there.
And I strongly believe that because men are less emotional, men are more analytical.
Yes.
That's not a knock on emotions.
No, it is not.
But men are more analytical and we will analyze rather than move based on a trigger.
Yes.
Whilst it's easier for a woman to move based on a trigger.
Yes.
And I've learned that if I operate based on a trigger, I'm likely to make mistakes.
There's also something that I didn't know when I just started my marriage with Nash, and in growing in the marriage, and I growing and still learning, that there's also strength in submission.
Right.
So, ladies, we are strong. We are strong people. We talk up, we speak up, we have opinions, but we can also have strength in submission, where we know the role we play in making this home happy. We know the role we play in making this marriage happy. So if we're diving into the Proverbs 31 woman.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
A woman is strong and capable, and she is wise.
Yeah.
And that's what Proverbs 31 talks about. Strong, capable, and wise. It doesn't mean that you are so passive and things pass you by. No, it doesn't mean that way. It doesn't mean that you have opinions and you should keep it to yourself. No. But there's strength in giving an opinion and making a recommendation versus trying to lead.
I give you one better. One of the greatest displays of strength is knowing when to be quiet.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now, you will often hear me reference my work environment.
Yes.
That's one of the greatest tests, I believe, of my present life. Just knowing when to be quiet. I don't work with bad people, but I work with people of different persuasions. Right? And as a Christian, in that environment, it's easy to be sucked in. You'll hear the conversations, you will hear the comments, you will hear the perspectives on various things, and you're like, is something wrong with me? It's easy, right? And if you don't have that strong character, then you'll be led astray. It's easy to join them.
Yes.
But I've found that one of the greatest things for me is knowing when to be silent.
Yes. Yes.
The conversation is going, and okay, we might be in a very good conversation. We're exchanging ideas, and things are going well. And then someone goes left field.
That's my cue.
That's my point. That's where I shut up.
But going back in the marriage, right? In the marriage, as wives, we should learn how to be silent. When is a good time to express? When is not a good time to express?
Right.
When is a good time to contradict or to debate? When is not a good time to do that? And it boils down to trust. Right? And you have that strength in knowing, okay, I know I can't say this now, but I'm going to say it later.
Okay. And the same is true for a man too, because even though we are leading, there are times when we need to hear your opinion, and there are times when we need to just shut up and listen. It's not a one-sided thing where, you display strength by being silent. No, it's not about that. We both need to listen.
Yes.
We both need to listen. Again, if men are analytical, we spend 90% of our time listening, analyzing, trying to understand. And once we understand, then we can start forming solutions.
Yes. I've learned that with my hubby. I will talk on a point forever. And he would say to me, if we keep talking, there's no time for us to think.
Right.
There's no time for us to listen. There's no time for us to digest. And I have learned that. I'm still learning it because I'll talk. I will talk and I'll express myself and I will yap.
Yes, you will.
And I'm learning, okay, but I have to be silent for a moment so he can process what I said.
That's true.
Because I've said it. I don't have to repeat. I don't have to say it 10 times. I can say it once and he'll hear me.
That's right.
And I can still have my strength in submission.
Right. So that leads us into the power of having a gentle spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are times when you just need for that gentle spirit to take precedence.
Yes. Yes.
Because if we are always high strung, always at 100, we're never going to find a solution.
Yes.
There's always going to be war.
Yes.
There's always going to be conflict.
Yes. Yes. And that's where the wisdom comes into submission, knowing when to let that quiet or gentle spirit emerge. When to now be gentle with your spouse in submission. You're arguing about something major. He didn't, turn off the lights, and or
Is
he
that
didn't.
Something major. Okay.
He didn't,
Let's talk about spending the money.
Put on back the toothpaste cap.
That's not major. Let's talk about spending money. Okay. I made a major purchase. Okay.
So one of us made a major purchase. Or
it's likely to be her.
and there's an argument. Wives, we have to discern when we need to have that gentle spirit. When the soft answer turns away wrath. When we are to show love and talk with love and kindness.
Right.
In our submission, we are the gentle ones. We are the ones that should nurture. We are the ones that should show that, okay, we're upset now. It's hard. We're angry, but we need to exert that gentle spirit,
right,
that wisdom and submission, and know when to approach him. I'm not saying we're perfect. This is not saying you're always going to be so calm and gentle, but you know when you can say, okay, give me some time. I've said that to him so many times. I said, okay, I can't think about this now. I can't talk about it now. I can't respond right now, but I'm going to respond later. Give me a few minutes or give me some time. Because I know, Diane, that as how heated I am, I'm going to respond to him in a very rude and disrespectful way. But I need to apply wisdom in submission. I need to apply that gentle spirit in submission.
And what that means, let's just boil that down into two words.
Yes.
Peaceful confidence.
Peaceful confidence.
Yeah.
You're not giving away your right.
Right.
You're not giving away your strength.
You're not losing your voice.
You're not losing your voice. I like that.
You're not losing your voice, but you are able to express yourself in a peaceful way. A very confident way, but peaceful.
Yes.
Right? That it doesn't stir the pot. Okay. So back to that scripture about a soft answer turning
away wrath.
Right?
Yes.
This is what we're talking about.
Yes.
You didn't lose your voice.
No.
But you softened the answer.
Your voice, yes. Or you allowed your anger to pass. And then you could come with a gentle spirit to your husband.
That's right.
But I know this topic is controversial. I know. And I struggled with submission for a long time because I had a different view of submission. But now I can talk from a place of knowledge and I can talk from a place of understanding, and I can share with wives, potential wives, that there's strength in submission.
There is.
And men, as my hubby said, allow us to submit to something. Allow us to submit to something. It's hard to submit to someone that is abusive. Right? It's hard to submit to someone that doesn't show love, doesn't show care.
Yeah, but also someone that has a track record of just making bad decisions.
Exactly. It's hard to submit to that.
You make very poor decisions as it relates to your family, yourself.
Yes.
You have no clear direction.
No clear direction.
How do you expect a wife to submit to something like that? So we have to give the women something to submit to.
So all in all, it is a partnership. It's a partnership, and both parties have a part to play in it.
Right. Let's talk about the reflection of God's love for the church and how man's role in that dynamic is a reflection of submission. Because if men ought to love their wives as Christ loves the church, and the woman is expected to honor that man, then that's reflective of the relationship between God and man. And man, we have no choice. We have to submit to the order of God.
Yes.
And as we submit to the order of God, we give or trust to him to make the right moves to allow our lives to flourish. Can you imagine if we didn't trust God and we tried to do it ourselves and we did not allow God to do what he knows is best for us? Can you imagine? So that's what we're trying to cultivate in marriages when we allow for the order of God. Right? Where the man leads and the wife submits. And again, it's not a matter of you losing your voice or your place. It's just a matter of trust.
Yes. Right. I love it. I love it. I love
All
it.
right, that's it for us today.
Thank you so much for joining us, and please stay tuned. And there's a giveaway coming up.
That's
and
right.
We will keep you informed.
That's right. All right. I love it. Bye-bye.
Bye.